Hello Film Worlders, it is me, your host, Micah Pendleton, and welcome to Film World Community, the brand new community-driven show that is the first episode. And this is basically, the way this goes, I got a basic set of notes right here, and it's like one take. I just sit down in front of the camera, answer you guys' questions, give suggestions, give shout-outs to other YouTubers and stuff who have contacted me, fans and things like that, YouTubes that you guys want to share with the rest of the community, and then I give a movie suggestion, and maybe even some more random stuff that comes every once in a while. So, let's get into it. So, the first thing we're going to do is get into some comments/questions. This is going to be fun. Now, let me see. Question number 1 comes from Epic Romulan. Love that name, by the way. Big Trekkie. I am Big Trekkie. I know you are, obviously, because your username, but I'm saying that I'm a big Trekkie as well. Anyway, so he says, would it be possible to make a tutorial for how to use Blender? Like, how to actually use it, ... It may just be that I'm dumb, but I just can't figure out the dang thing, figure the dang thing out. Well, you're not the only one. Early on, some of the number one comments I would get is, oh, I tried Blender once, but I couldn't figure it out, so I stopped. And stuff like that, because it is a very complicated program. And that's one of the things that's coming in 2.8 of Blender, is they're going to be really trying to make it more user-friendly, which will be fantastic. And probably we'll see a lot more users. But to answer your question, actually, next episode of Premiere Prep, which is coming this Sunday, is going to be on how to just get started with live-action compositing for visual effects and everything in Blender. It's going to be completely 2D, like node-based compositing. We're not going to get into the 3D and stuff, but this is going to be a really great, fun, and I think important for a lot of you guys, tutorial on just getting started with Blender for compositing. And I think it'll be great for you guys. So hopefully that answers your question. Thank you very much for that, Epic Romulan. You are epic, even though Vulcans are superior and the original Vulcan-like creature. Question 2. It comes from Ultimatania. Ultimatamania? I don't know. Something like that. It says, how much and what frame rate does your camcorder take and the video quality? Okay, so to decipher that question, he's basically asking what camera do I use? And what settings do I use it at? Since the start of Premiere Prep, I've used the Canon Vixia HFR 40. It's been a pretty good little camcorder. Definitely was better than what I had before this thing. And I've used this for almost every episode of Premiere Prep. And lately, I've been experimenting a little bit. I've actually only done one complete episode with it, but I've been using the Canon T3i. It's actually Michael Saka's, and he's been letting me borrow it. So if you're watching this, Michael, thanks. But pretty much every episode has been on this. And something I noticed is as soon as I got basically these soft boxes behind me, when I got those, the video quality on this camera actually looks pretty decent. Before, when I was using clamp lights and stuff, it looked okay. But now it actually looks kind of decent under these soft boxes. So a lot of lighting definitely has helped this camera. But to answer your question about the frame rate, I've always shot at 24 frames per second. That's just what I like to shoot at for films and stuff, and that's just kind of what I've left the settings on for Premiere Prep and everything. So 24 is kind of my default frame rate. I don't know. Maybe I should try 30, because that's kind of, what's standard for a lot of YouTubers and stuff like that. But it does give a different feeling, I know, to the video. But 24 is just really all I've used, and there's no real reason for me to change. But yeah, so video quality and frame rate, I hope that answered it for you. But I do hope to upgrade soon. That's for sure. I'm actually thinking mirrorless camera, like maybe a Panasonic G7. But this will be a few months down the road. But I'm thinking a G7 might be what I want to go for. Alright, next question is from Blender Bites. He asks, why couldn't you use an orange? This was actually, for those of you who are unaware, I did an episode, for last episode of Premiere Prep, I did the annoying orange effect in Blender, which that was actually a lot of fun. It took quite a while to get the episode to you guys. I think it actually originally was going to say it was going to be episode 3, and it ended up being episode 8. So it got postponed quite a bit, and it was going to be the annoying orange effect, and I had bought an orange, and I was going to use the orange and all that. But because I waited so long to finally get you guys the episode, the orange just, I could tell it was starting to age, and I was like, well, I got like 2 weeks until I'm going to do the episode, so I might as well just eat this orange. So I ate it, and I never bought another one, so I just was like, okay, I'll use a cardboard box. And it was kind of a good example to show that you don't have to use an orange. You can use a cardboard box, you can use a wall, you know, a laptop. You can make anything talk with that effect. So that'll be really great. And a link in the description for that episode if you want to watch it. There you go. Alright, so there's Blender Bites question. Now, next question is from Ace the Dolphin Guy. He says, I have a question. I'm not sure what version of Kdenlive I have, but how would I get the latest version of Kdenlive on Ubuntu 14.04? Would I go with the Software Center or something else? And how did you get the black theme if you're using Ubuntu? Thanks. Okay, so to answer the upgrading question, on Ubuntu there is really no other way to upgrade to the latest versions of software. Actually, I'll take that back in just a second. But there is really no other way of upgrade to the latest versions of software until either the next version comes out or you use a third-party software repository. But yeah, so to upgrade, you pretty much need to either use a third-party repository or wait for the next version of Ubuntu. Like you're on 14.04, 16.04 got released, and this is where I'm taking back what I said just a second ago. 16.04, this is actually really cool. They seem to be trying to implement this new feature where software will stay more up to date with Ubuntu. So, like if you download, say, Blender 2.79 or 7.7 whatever, and then 2.78 comes out, well, they'll update the repositories, and eventually, after some updates, you'll get 2.78. Within the same version of Ubuntu, which is something that has not been possible in the past, and is actually one of the things that's helped me stay with Fedora, which I've been loving Fedora for about 6 months now. And that's one of the things that finally tipped me over to Fedora, was the software repositories. And I actually might try 16.04, because it does look really good, like it's got some really good updates and everything, but I'll just have to see. But so yeah, if you want to get the latest version, either go with a third-party repository or get 16.04. And if you get 16.04, do keep in mind that it should stay up to date with the latest version of Kdenlive. But probably not the most bleeding edge, probably the more stable one. Like 15.12 is technically the most stable of Kdenlive at the moment. And to answer the theming question, well, I'm not on Ubuntu, obviously, and when I was on Ubuntu, I actually don't think I was using Kdenlive. Because I've pretty much been on Fedora the entire time I've been using Kdenlive as my main video editor. But to get the themes, you either have to have the KDE desktop, or you have to install like some of the KDE programs and stuff that need the theming and all that. I'm not quite sure exactly how all that works, or how you would make all that work. I know how it works technically, but to make it work, I don't really know. But so yeah, if you really want a custom theme and everything, you may just have to go with KDE. I don't really know. I'm not the best guy to ask for that question. I'm sorry. All right. The last question from you, last question is from L Director Vision. He says, I'd love to see you do more Natron-based tutorials since it's a clone of Nuke, which is the industry standard for VFX. Well, yes, it is the industry standard for VFX, Nuke that is, and Natron is like a clone. I've tried Natron a couple times, and I think I actually have it installed on this system. Let me see. Nope, I don't. Not on this system, but I do on my desktop. I just haven't been using it much, mostly because when I first started, playing with it, it didn't have the functionalities that Blender has that I needed. But since then, it has gotten some updates, and so yeah, I might try Natron again. That's really the main reason why I haven't done anything for it, is because I just really haven't used Natron. I was so excited about the idea of Natron, and it could be where I wanted it to be now. But it was still just kind of glitchy and stuff, and I really do think I will go back and play with it some, and if so, I would definitely love to do some tutorials. So I hope, L Director Vision, that answers your question. Alright, so moving on to the next segment of Film World Community, we have a shout-out. TheRealLJ contacted me a week ago, something like that, and you asked, or he did, if you're not him, it's he. He said if I could give him a shout out for a YouTube tutorial he did on how to do a page turning animation in Blender. And I watched the tutorial. It's really, really cool, and he did a great job. So if you would like to see this, it's in a link in the description below, and you can go to it, and it's really kind of cool because it has like this book, and it animates the pages turning and all that. And he's got a little fold up at the top corner and all that kind of stuff. It's really cool. So I'd recommend you watch that and check it out in the link in the description below. And yes, that is a jump cut because the camera just stopped recording on me. That's where I'm still not completely comfortable with the T3i. Okay, so moving on to the next segment. So we had the shout out for TheRealLJ. That is absolutely awesome. Definitely check it out and link in the description. Movie suggestion. Now I'm going to recommend a movie for you guys to watch. And basically the rule here is it has to be in my movie collection, and definitely one that I've seen and love. And this one is a great one, and I'm doubting that a lot of you have ever seen this one. It's called The Sting with Robert Redford and Paul Newman, directed by, forgive me since I forgot his name. It is directed by George Roy Hill, and it is absolutely fantastic. I believe it was made in '76, something like that. It was late '70s, something like that. And it was an absolutely fantastic movie. I actually got this movie because my dad randomly just went, yeah, there was a movie a long time ago with Robert Redford. It was really good. And he was like just reminiscing about it because he hadn't seen it forever. And he absolutely loved it. And I was like, for him to bring up a movie like that, I'd have to check it out. So I went on Amazon and bought it and watched it, and absolutely amazing. I love this movie. So many just different twists and stuff, and it's so well written. The acting's great. The story is just phenomenal. I highly, highly recommend this movie. It is called The Sting. So go check that out. So, if you guys would like to have a question read on the show, make sure that you either leave a comment on this video or any other video. If you do leave it on any other video, it'd be kind of good for you to say that it's for the Film World community. But that's basically it. So thank you guys very much for watching the first episode of Film World Community. This is going to be a bi-monthly show. Do keep that in mind. It won't be every week. It will be every other week. So sometimes it might actually end up being 3 in a month. It's the way some weeks work. But, so, yes, that really concludes it. Thank you guys very much for watching. Send comments to email at filmworld96@gmail.com or tweet at Micah Pendleton. And then comment on a video. I'm going down the list, and that's pretty much it. Thank you guys very much for watching. Make sure you ask the questions. I will see you guys this Sunday for that episode of Premiere Prep where we go into live-action compositing in Blender, a complete beginner's introduction. Alright, until then, I'm your host, Micah Pendleton. Remember, dream big, pay small. I'll catch you next time.